the J, we're very lucky to be able to continue to study with experts in the field of early childhood. Our staff has spent a lot of time working with one of the experts from JCC Association, Mark Horowitz, and we've enjoyed working with him so much we thought that our parents would love hearing from him too. I'd like to introduce Mark Horowitz.
Hi, I'm Mark, and I work with the JCC Association. The JCC Association is the umbrella organization for all JCCs around North America in both the United States and Canada. And we are set up just like your own JCC here. We have different departments that take care of different things, and I am the director of the Early Childhood Department. So one of the things that I get to do is I get to travel around the country and I get to see all of the different JCCs and what they have to offer and who they are. And because there are so many, about 200 of them, I often only get to visit those JCCs who are willing to have me come and to work with them and to challenge their thinking, and who are really up for further learning and continued growth. So I'm here tonight to tell you a little bit about what I see here in Dallas and what I know from my travels around the country. One great opportunity that I have that many teachers don't have is that I can spend my time looking through research and reading books and going to conferences and understanding the kinds of things that there are to learn and know about early childhood. And I've been here, invited by Tara, and working with your teachers for the last 2 days and again tomorrow on best practices in early childhood education and what's new and what's out there that people should be thinking about as they move forward. So number one, you should be really pleased that you're coming to a school where teachers are interested in and want to be challenged. And I have to tell you from my working with these teachers that not only are they interested in being challenged, but that they think very deeply and that they are very anxious to hear new things. So one of the things that's very important for you to realize is that in the last 10 years, 10 to 15 years, maybe 5 to 10 years, even more so, there have been some very dramatic changes in early childhood education and the way we think about teaching children. When I first learned how to teach and how to become a director in early childhood a number of years ago, we had a very different way of thinking. We really believed that we had all of the knowledge and that in our brains and in our minds we knew what children needed. So we could plan for them before they even got there. We could plan a whole year out. We could teach them their ABCs one day at a time. We could have rote memorization. We have an understanding that if we taught kids things that they could memorize and know, that those skills would then be with them for the rest of their lives. And we've learned since then that children don't actually benefit from that kind of learning, and what they benefit from most of all is from us understanding what's inside of them and what they're curious about. And that if we can give them tools, the best tools that we can give them are the tools to really understand how to learn, to understand that they are valued, that they have self-worth, that the kind of things that, the kinds of questions that they have and the kinds of things that they're thinking about are valued by the teachers, so that when they leave a place like the JCC in Dallas, they are able to take with them the knowledge that I mean something, and my learning is important, and my teachers know how to listen to me, and I know how to ask questions, and therefore they go on to enjoy learning and to have this joy of learning deep inside of them. So that's a very important thing for us to understand. So here at the Dallas JCC, you'll find teachers who are following children's interests and are building curriculum around the things that interest children. So they're keeping in mind all of the skills that your children need to know as they leave, but what they're doing is they're focusing on what the child is interested in to get there. So instead of what you see in so many schools, which is really unfortunate and against all of the research that's shown, which I'll talk about in a moment, the whole notion of every week is a letter, and the letters are up all over the place, and there's lots of plastic around the rooms. You notice when you go into the rooms here at the JCC in Dallas, especially before school begins, that there are blank walls, and that everything is at the height of where children can see and experience print and literacy all over the place. They also understand that their work is going to go up, and therefore they're going to feel valued and understand that what they do is important and be listened to. So one very important note, I think, is that there's been some research of late that I'm going to sort of describe a graph to you because I think it's very visual in that way. That oftentimes when children leave schools that are what we call academically based, which is sort of a misnomer because every school that's worth its weight is teaching the skills that every child needs to go into kindergarten. But academically based means to many parents The letters are everywhere. People are being forced to write and forced to recite and forced to do things that they may not be ready to do, instead of having it come naturally through print and language and all the things that happen here. So the kids who go into kindergarten that wrote, memorized those sorts of things, on a graph, they tend to go up as they enter kindergarten because they have all those skills that kindergarten teachers feel anxious about them having to learn because of state standards. So they go up, they come up this way, and in 3 or 4 months the graph starts to dip because new learning, value of joy of learning, the discovery, the asking of questions, and the wanting to be there sort of disappears once all that initial learning is gone. When kids come from schools like the one you're sending your children to, oftentimes they will dip when they first come into kindergarten because their skills and their strengths are ones that will last forever. And if they haven't actually learned those things that kindergarten teachers think are very important, the alphabet in its entirety and those sorts of things, they're going to learn them, and that graph goes up somewhere way before the middle of kindergarten in most cases, because they're able to learn and they're able to be stimulated by what's around them. And after all, if you remember when you were a child, kindergarten is where you learn those things. Early childhood is a place to learn the skills of life. And I think that here at the JCC in Dallas, you have the opportunity to really understand that and to live it. Because as my experience, which is pretty vast, I go to schools almost every week around the country. And here what's unique in this particular place is that teachers understand what children need, they respond to what children need, they're listening to children, they're thinking about what children need and who they are, and then they give the children the skills to wonder about what life is about. So enjoy your year. I hope you have a wonderful experience here, and I know that your children will. So thanks for listening.